Why does it have to be the Black people in that situation to act mature? Like, is maturity far away from them? Is it only accessible to Black people? What is going on, you people, and welcome back again on the channel. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing very fine. If you're joining for the very first time, you're most welcome. Don't make it your last time, so smash that red button and turn your bell notification on. So this video is one of those videos that I want everyone to see. So if you're watching this video, you might as well share this video for people you want to see it, especially for melanated people. I want you to share this particular one. This is a video talking about reassessing what violence means, decolonization and deconstruction of our minds, and what we're being told that violence means and what it actually means. This is a very powerful message that I want all of us to talk about. So just sit, relax, and let's just watch this video together.
Check out this video. I'll be right back.
So this Alabama brawl, to me, is a great example in the present day of Black deconstruction. Black deconstruction, not just from oppressive systems that told us that it is our responsibility to carry the weight of a nation that won't even acknowledge its past, let alone its present. Black deconstruction from this idea of turning the other cheek. Deconstruction from this idea that somehow we can only be docile when we are met with violence, unprovoked violence for no other reason than us existing or doing the job. So as we're thinking about this Alabama brawl, and we have the memes, we have folks really engaging and talking about it being for the culture, I want us to understand this is a cultural reset. This is a resetting of what it means to actually allow your humanity to lead, and not an ideology that is telling you to put your humanity in the back burner in order to make it palatable for those who need our subjugation to continue on.
A lot of people who have watched the Montgomery brawl have started their videos talking about it with the caveat of, I don't condone violence. And I totally get where that's coming from generally. But I think the Battle of Montgomery and the state of the nation as a whole is really an invitation for us to revisit, rethink, and reframe our relationship to violence. And I get that it's uncomfortable. But like Dr. Truesdell said, this is the work of deconstruction. And me and her actually had this conversation months ago. I know it's a bit long, but if you're Black, if you understand that historically violence has sometimes been necessary for us to get our liberation, then I hope you really watch this full video. Take a look.
What do you think that a Black person today can learn from the Haitian Revolution?
I think the revolution shows us this idea of nonviolence that we are fed by the state in the U.S. Via utilizing and whitewashing Dr. King, right? Mm-hmm. When we are fed this idea of nonviolence, when you look at the past, how the hell can you gain liberation in a violent state without meeting violence with some other type of violence? We're not taught about how our ancestors always resisted. If you look at them, if y'all go in and look at old school newspapers, there was at least a poisoning every other day happening. Okay, on the plantations, people were breaking tools, people were running away. The whole purpose of the slave patrol was because enslaved folks ran away so damn much.
What this society does is it makes you uncomfortable with these types of conversations.
Yes.
It's undeniable that we live in a violent society whose rules are held in place by a system that will at any moment enact violence against those who defy its laws. And anytime there's conversations like this around violence and around like meeting that violence with violence and around like why that historically has happened, with examples like the Haitian Revolution, with Nat Turner, etc.
Yes.
Even me listening to this conversation, you shedding light on that, there's a seed of like discomfort in there that I'm still working through, I guess. But it's important that we have these conversations and really shed light and be honest about the kind of society that we live in and the means that people have had to use historically to get freedom and to experience humanity. And sometimes it costs people their very lives.
But I think that's important. What you just modeled, Donnell, is that you realize that even as we're talking, and then it's not about agreeing or disagreeing, there's an uncomfortability, right, in the information. The fact that you can actually signal it, call it, allows you to work with it. So when you have that uncomfortability, it allows you to the conversation, because my question back to you is, who taught you that? Mm-hmm. It's true. And I always tell folks, ask yourself, who taught you these things, and is it actually true?
Oh, wow.
Right? So there's a way that what you are doing is you are breaking the hold of the illusion that society told you was reality in order to have the reality of you enter into the conversation and knock that door open. So to be uncomfortable in this idea of nonviolence, I ask everybody, who taught you what nonviolence is? And those who taught you, do they actually exercise nonviolence themselves? I'll go back to King, because we love to, the society, U.S. loves to take, whitewash the hell out of King. King might have said it. King said he was nonviolent, but he carried a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he do that? Because he was not naive enough to know that he was still in a violent society that if they had the chance would kill his black ass.
Mm-hmm.
We got to also realize that we're trained and conditioned to see violence in that kind of gun and kind of warlike way, right?
Yeah.
Violence in a society that is also ideological and based. And ideological means that it really has a stronghold based upon these kind of ideas of what it means to, again, have living in life. When you enter into it and you bring a different perspective, that is violent to that space.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you're a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when we think about violence,
that's why they killed Dr. King for just talking. Right?
There you go. Right? And what would he start talking about? When you listen to King's initial speeches, and then you see him over the 60s in the 60s, right? You see him heavily shifting from this kind of, I had a dream, Black supremacy and white supremacy are equally as bad, to being like, this economic system is killing us. Mm-hmm. And we need to start thinking about what the economy means with Poor People's Campaign, right? When he tried to get them sanitation workers to organize, the state came down. Malcolm actually didn't enact violence physically, right? But his words were so violent to a system that needs us to buy into it. He was a problem and threat. So we see the power of knowledge when you break outside, again, the borders and the institutions that confine it, but that is violent to a state that uses ideology to keep the stronghold and keep us in consent of that power base. So I want everyone to reassess this idea of what violence means, because again, who taught you that? Is it true? And is the person or the location that's telling you that, do they actually enact it themselves?
Thank you for watching, and as always, like and follow for more content.
Who taught you, and is that true, is actually a very big question. What do you guys think about what this woman said in that video? Like, what are your thoughts about what she said in that video? We all know that history has been altered in so many ways to fit these people's narrative, and a lot of times these things protect them while it puts the life of other melanated people in danger. And this is the reason why there is a saying that when they slap you on your right cheek, you turn your left. Why do I have to turn my left cheek for you to slap me again? And this as well is the reason why I was shocked at a white man who made a comment about what happened at the riverboat rumble, saying that when the black men came into the situation, they were not meant to escalate the situation. They were supposed to act mature and make sure that that issue or that thing that happened at the riverboat does not happen. But when the guard was talking to the white people, why were they violent towards him? They were the very first people to throw punches at this man. It wasn't this black man that started the violence at the riverboat rumble, if you have watched that video. But then again, this white man made a comment and say that the black people who joined in were supposed to act mature and not escalate the situation. What happened to the white people prior in this situation? Why didn't they act mature? Why does it have to be the black people in that situation to act mature? Like, is maturity far away from them? Is it only accessible to black people? Because these are the questions that we should ask, because this is literally giving us a new definition of what violence means in the system and why they will always expect us to consent and just act cool while we are being violated. And when they say no violence, but is there any revolution that has ever happened through courtesy? There was a man that said we can never get back our country through courtesy. Like, you have to be able to go war for war in order for you to get what you want. Violence is something that has been thrown at black people for several years, several times, and these people expect them not to retaliate with the same thing. Like, I would really like to hear you guys' thoughts on this particular video, because this is literally reassessing what violence means, and as well the construction and the colonization of our mind. What do you think about what they said? I'm going to put their name on the screen. This particular TikTok creator is one creator that I follow so much, and I'm going to advise, if you're on TikTok as well, to follow him. He always shares so much knowledge on his page, and I've been able to learn so much from his page as well. So if you're on TikTok, you might as well just give him a follow and just learn as well, and let's just spread this information. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please smash the subscribe button and turn the bell notification on, and I'll see you guys and talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.